Welcome to Practicing Photography. My name is Doug Gabbard, and this week I'm going to show you a tool, a website that you can't do without if you do any type of travel photography, or if you're on vacation, if you're doing business trips. Prior to COVID, I did quite a bit of traveling, and it wasn't for a while before I discovered this website to help me out. I wish I had found it earlier. I used Bing, I used Google, I used Flickr, which I'll show you in a little bit, to search for things to take photos of. Sometimes I was lucky and I found some pretty cool stuff. ShutterDial, on the other hand, will help you find just about anything you want to find. And let me show you how to use it. When you first go to shutterdial.com, as it's listed here, and I will post on this website in my description below, I'm going to search for a city. Let's say I'm traveling to Las Colinas, Texas. So let's type in Las Colinas. And I'm going to put Texas. And the reason I'll put the state in there is if it's a common state or a town name, such as Springfield is a really common name. If you look for Springfield and don't put Illinois, if that's where you're wanting to look, you're going to get a lot of Springfields that's all across the United States, and it may not be what you're looking for. So be sure to put in the state with the city. Not 100% necessary. If you have a very obscure town name, you probably could do without it. But just to be on the safe side, I recommend always putting the state name in. So let's build a contact sheet. What I found, not with this tool, but what I found in Las Colinas, I think I found it with Flickr, were these horses. It's down a little ways. It's a rather interesting picture. These horses are statues that are in a fountain, and the fountain's running right now. You can see the water splashing along their feet. Here's an interesting building. Here's a bridge that someone used underneath. Gives you a perspective. You know, you may know that the city's here, but what about this bridge? If you wanted to put it in to frame the city, you know, where would you go to do that? All right, so let's look at this a little bit farther. So, like I said, this is a search engine for Flickr. If I click on this, this is going to take me to that picture, and you're going to see who took it. Got 1,200 views. You can follow them if you like, if you're not on there already. But that'll help you out a little bit. This one is not as crisp as I would like it to be. It might be that he downsized the photo. He's got a copyright on it, so I imagine he's got a much better quality photo of it. But it's an excellent way to find out what's in that city. This is like right downtown in the city, so it's easy enough to find, but I'd been to that city many times and never knew that was there. So let's try another search. Let's say I'm going to go to a town in Ohio called Hocking Hills. And it's in Ohio. And the reason I'm picking this one is because I know there are waterfalls in here. So you can see it looks like some type of cave or something that's here, some trails. Hocking Hills is actually a park. I don't know if it's a town name, but Hocking Hills is in Ohio. Some beautiful, beautiful photos here. Oh, you just gotta love them. Looks like this was in wintertime. You got some ice coming down here. That's great. So some things you might consider is these waterfalls looks like they run year round, that they don't dry up in the summer or winter time. But let's look at some other features that we have with ShutterDial. Right now, you can see Hocking Hills, Ohio, any focal length, any aperture, and any shutter speed. I can make the changes here, or I can go back one page. Let's try that again. Go back one page, and you'll see the same thing. So I'm just going to hit the build the contact sheet again, because I just like to stay here once I'm here. But since there's waterfalls, so like I said before, I had reasons for coming to this site because I knew there were waterfalls. So that gives me an opportunity to play with one of these other settings here to find something specific. So when waterfall photos are taken, a lot of times I do them at a little bit slower shutter speed to get some effects of waterfalls. So let's move this with a slider here. It's bulb, which is as long as you want to hold it open, 15 seconds. A lot of waterfall pictures are done in around the 1 to 2 to 5 second range. So now we'll do 2 seconds. We'll probably lose a few of the trail photos. We may still have some. But now we're going to get predominantly waterfall photos. And I'm not filtering to look for waterfalls. We could put waterfalls over here in the description to get waterfalls. But what I'm after is I want longer exposures. You know, the nice silky look of the water is done with a 2 second exposure. So we can even change that further. Let's go down to, let's go to 15 seconds. If we put it to 15 seconds, do we have any 15-second waterfall photos? Look at that. That's awesome. That's just beautiful. That's an interesting one. 15-second photo. They must have been trying to stand still because they're semi semi in focus for a 15-second exposure. Some interesting photos here. Someone was playing. But what's interesting about this, as I said before, when you click on this, you can find out who took the photo. It's got 290 views. Here's the person's name and things like that you can see. And you can contact them. They're on Flickr, which is public. Once you've done that, you can go back to your shutter dial and search for something different. So here's, if you remember at the beginning of the video, I had mentioned that asking locals is a good way to find things like this. By all means, these waterfalls are going to probably tell you where these waterfalls. They probably have trail maps of how to get to these waterfalls. But the horses in Las Colinas, it probably wouldn't, they probably see them every day and don't think much of them. But when I saw them, I was kind of, wow, these are pretty cool. But what you can do with this is, and here's your test. Here's your call to action from this video. In this description field up here, put your town in here. Change all these to any focal length, or any shutter speed, any aperture, or any focal length. Put your city in here and see if you come up with some areas that you've never seen before. What's really interesting, in my small town, I found remnants of a Crescent brewery that has been long gone before I was born, but there were some remnants of it. There was a small little alcove dug into the side of the hill, and I thought it was really interesting. Did some research and found out what it was. I grew up in this town, and I'd never seen that before. So it was very interesting. Another thing I found in using shutter dial was a shipwreck from a ferry type boat that moved people around way back from, again, before I was born. Apparently it went adrift is the story, and it got shipwrecked along the river up in a little tributary, and it's been there ever since, and no one's pulled it out. So that's known as the ghost ship, I believe. But you'll be amazed at what you find in your own local town just by putting your town up here. And like I said, put the state in there. Leave all these to any focal, any aperture, or any shutter speed. One thing that's odd about this, you'll notice I got sliders on these, but I don't have a slider here. So this one you're actually typing if you want something like 400 millimeter. Hocking Hills, there's a lot of wildlife there, so you're going to find things like that. But to get this back to any focal length, just backspace this out, and you'll be able to see back to anything again. So like I said, this is my favorite tool for finding places to go to take photos. And if you use this, try it first on your own hometown. Don't wait to travel to another city. Try it in your own hometown, and I ask that you'll put comments down below of what you found. Give us links to, or show us your Flickr content or wherever you post your pictures, or give us links to your photos so that we can take a look at them and share them with us. So if you like this video, or if you learned something that's valuable to you, please hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button, share this with others, and come back next week for practicing photography and my next video.